Bismillah ar-Rahman rahim Assalamu alaikum. It's the last day of a 2-day conference. So I have a question for all of you. How many of you are happy that you are still in this room? If you are really happy, raise your hand. I noticed that most of you raise your hand by looking at the most senior person in your table. Especially, I saw a lot of the SGs, they look at actually at the council and NATO presidents. And I realized some of you at the front row, at the back, you actually look at those who are in the front row. Now, I think this is a very important day we are celebrating, the end of a 2-day conference. And the first thing I would like to speak to all of you is actually not about my presentation. I had the opportunity to attend the 2018 conference. And that was, I guess, a couple of years ago. And then we didn't have a conference for various reasons. But as I was listening to many presentations yesterday and to the last part of today, I realized that the quality of the presentations, the papers that were presented, it was far better than what I have seen as a professional speaker who research and study in these areas. So, take a moment, give everyone a round of applause. Because I think there are papers that you could actually take to the international audiences, not just in the Maldives. So those who presented the papers, I'd like to encourage you to search for conferences around the world and present. Because when I was listening to some of them, the research that you have done, the way you have put the presentation is just incredible. Now, I don't know if you took notice of this, but what you see on this slide are some of the most repetitive words that were discussed during this conference in the last, today and yesterday. Now, when you look on the slide, you see digital mindset. In fact, yesterday I was at the table right over here. I took note. Do you know how many times that word was used? Guess. Could you, in fact, ask the person next to you how many times it was used? Come on, ask the person next to you how many times. 10 seconds. How many times? Yeah. Is there any guess from the audience? We can give you a free book if you guess correctly. 35? Yeah. Approximately 47 times. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. The second most repetitive word, which I thought it was amazing because I did not hear that word during the 2018 conference, was citizen-centric. Because I'm in the private sector, this I spend most of my time. We speak a lot about customer-centric. And when I heard this word, I thought, wow, we have actually uplifted the way we think. These are the 5 words that were actually used in most cases yesterday and today. And I thought I want to give a different perspective to all of you. Because we spoke about great ideas and making change happen and doing this and doing that. I suppose we are all motivated, right? Are you? It didn't sound like I heard my friend Ahmad say yes. But I mean, are you really motivated to make some changes? Good. At least I heard so. But here's the problem, because tomorrow, when most of you go back to work, you're going to go inside your office and you're going to go like, good conference. Life is back to normal, right? But this is the biggest challenge we have, because we all gather to create some sort of change. We all want change. By the way, the only constant thing in our life every single day that we live is change, right? You sleep, you wake up, there's a change. Now, the question I like to ask you, and I would like you to ask from the person next to you, is this. Do you all like all the changes? Let me ask a personal question. Do you like the changes that you see in your body sometimes? I mean, whether you like it or not, do you have a change? You have a choice? You don't. So here's the thing. Because when we go back and ask from people about changes, we ask the wrong question. We're actually trying to pivot them towards liking the changes. Changes are there not for you to like them. Changes are there for you to embrace them. Because if you go and say, we're going to bring a change, you're going to have digital mindset and this and all this, and say, you got to like this change. No, no. Changes are there for you to review, look at it, change your perspective, and look at what can I do in this particular point to add value to this transaction so that you create a citizen-centric culture and so on and so forth. Now, there are many examples given yesterday about digital mindset. How many of you have been here? How many of you have been to Dubai from this audience? Raise your hand. Many, many, right? Yeah, very good. Singapore? Good. Yeah, you don't have to go too far, right? Now, these two countries, we all speak about excellence because excellence is all about doing the very best that you can on a continuous basis. So it's not that we don't know what are the great things. We know. We are very well aware. In 2016, early 2016, when the WeChat in China, which is a form of a social platform payment gateway came, even the beggars in China, they upgraded themselves. They had a QR code. Yeah, because nobody's carrying cash, right? Yeah. Changes are there for you not to like. You got to embrace them. Even the beggars at the railway stations actually did this. When I heard this in 2016, I went to China in 2017, I even saw this. I said, unbelievable. You get the point here, right? And we spent 2 days on changing and creating the mindset. And yesterday I was carefully listening to the presentation and the panel discussion where Nias was speaking about how hard it was to create one island and change the mindset. They have the infrastructure. They have everything you need. Why don't the councils join with them and say, hey, look, let's make it happen? Because trust me, when it happens, everything will change. Followed by China, one of the largest populations in the world. Even India, they did it. Right? People who are on the road looking for money. I mean, unbelievable, right? I recently went to India in February, and purposely, I did not carry a single credit or debit card. All the transactions went through, just using the phone. Get the point, right? So here's because if you really want great results, and we all want that, we have to have a new sort of a mindset. And the mindset is, by the way, the hardest thing. And I want to tell you a story about this. How many of you like stories? Raise your hand. And ask the person next to you, do you like a story? Do you like stories? Yes, we do, right? Great. So, this happened in the Maldives. A large organization a couple of years ago chose one of their best managers, apparently within the organization, to go to Singapore and get trained in one of the best organizations in Singapore. I can't tell you the name of this institution because then you will know exactly which organization I'm talking about. But this organization has won several awards in Singapore, and they're the best on the planet in that particular sector. So this gentleman was sent for 30 days to go and study, to learn, come back. When you come back, you have to teach it to all the employees. Therefore, the organization spent a lot of money, as you can imagine, ticket cost, the accommodation, and the salary, and all of those things. After 30 days, this gentleman came back, receiving the training, and the human resource head asked a question. Hey, how was your trip to Singapore? Here's exactly how he responded. And I will say this in the way, so you understand the tone and the challenge we have as human beings to create the potential change that we require in our nation, not just in your island, but globally around this world. When the HR asked, how was the experience? What did you learn? In the way, aning hinnete tanun den das koran jiheche. Emihunna haremakare kankan das koran annan jiheni. True story. True story. Get the point, right? Yeah. Take a deep breath, everyone. Take a deep breath. What did you learn from this story? 10 seconds. Talk to your learning partner, please. What did you learn from this story? 10 seconds. And by the way, the person who shared this story with me, he's also in the audience. I won't tell you the. I think those are probably very close to you, probably would know who he is, but I won't tell you. Anyway, let's continue. Here's another example that I would like to share with all of you. If you have been to Japan, you probably will know that the Japanese train system is certainly one of the best in the world. But there's something really amazing in the Japanese train service, which is that every destination that they travel, the moment they travel the destination, what happens is that a cleaning crew goes inside the train and they clean, and they have the world record of cleaning in 7 minutes. In fact, there's a case study at the Harvard Business School they teach in the Executive MBA program called the 7-minute magic. In 2015, this company had a problem. Employees were not motivated. There's lots of health and safety issues at workplace. They have to change the leadership. So a new leader came into the organization and he was asked to create the change. Though they were meeting the 7-minute time, they realized the employees were taking shortcuts. So there must have been a reason. So a new leader came in, and at the time, they weren't making lots of money. So the new leader was told this. The board, and this company's name, by the way, the company who does the cleaning crew that you see on the slide, they belong to a company called Tesai, which is a cleaning company that provides the cleaning services to the bullet train system across Japan. So the new manager was told, we can't give you any resources, such as we can't give you more people, we can't give you new technologies, we can't give you new uniforms for now, we can't give you more money, but you got to create the change. These people need to be motivated because this is Japan. We only accept excellence. Now listen to this part of the story. Because in today's world and the future, it's not about how much resources you have. It's how resourceful you can be in creating and leading the change. So the new boss went and met with all the employees. He listened to them. And at the time, in 2005, they were called as cleaning crew. You know, when you come to work, when somebody calls you cleaning crew, do you feel motivated? No, you don't. Even if you say yes, you're just saying yes because you want to say yes for now. He does not have any resource. You know what he did? The first thing is he said, from tomorrow, we're going to change all of your names from cleaning crew to hospitality crew. Because cleaning crew is meh. Right? Yeah. Hospitality crew. See the difference, right? They got immediately motivated, and now they come to work on time. You know, on time means not when you have to come at 9, you are there 9 o'clock, 8:45 they are there. They started seeing an increase in the motivation and inspiration of the employees, and they start earning more money, and when they earn a little bit of money, they even change the uniform. Like the Hawaiian dress costume, right? Do they look like cleaning crews now? Ladies and gentlemen, everybody in this room has the ability to create the change that you want if you believe that you can. Because you could keep on continuing and complain and complain and complain and complain. Nothing is going to come your way because mindset is all about what you think. What you think is what you believe. What you believe is what you do. What you do is what you get. Because if you believe things will not change, of course it won't change. Even how hard we try. Therefore, the learning from this conference in the yesterday and today, I would really encourage all of you to look at it a bit deep and look at what is one thing that I have gained from presenters and papers and keynotes and that I can adapt and I can apply in my area of work. And that's how you create. The number of people in this conference here If everyone goes back and take one action, that's about 250 or more action. And that's how you create the change. Take a deep breath, everyone. What mindset are you going to take back to work tomorrow or the day after when you go back to work? Talk to your learning partner. 10 seconds, please. Because the mindset that you bring in is also important. I don't know about you, but when you came in yesterday for the conference, as you entered from this door, what was the mindset that you actually brought into this room? That mindset will determine what what you will do in this conference and probably what you did. Because if if you came into this conference like another conference, oh, I was told to be here, so I'll be here. I'll take notes. Oh, did you come here like, okay, let me see what I can learn from these paper presenters. Many of you know I do these kind of things almost every day. Yesterday I was taking notes and I learned one or two things from every single speaker. Because when I entered this door, I came with the mindset of what can I learn from presenters and papers, and what can I observe that this team is doing so that we could apply elsewhere. That is the mindset we all need. Now, let me ask another question. How many of you are here in this conference because you have to be here? Or how many of you are here because you want to be here? I noticed some of you raised your hand for both. Well, you get the point, right? Yeah. So, and here's another important thing, and I know when you say, well, Afeef, we understand the mindset part, you don't understand my point, but, we have so many challenges. I was like, okay, fine. And you say, well, there's lack of motivation because nobody helps. Okay, great. How do you get motivation? Because it comes through the values and purpose. This is a civil service conference. How many of you remember or knows by heart the vision of the civil service? How many of you remembers that? Is there anybody who knows the vision of civil service? Let me show you. Develop a motivated, competent, and proficient civil service. The word motivation is there, right? Yeah, exactly. Because here's an interesting thing, that the motivation is a result of a purpose-driven behavior that you bring to work every day. Because if you do a job because you have to do it, you just did it because it's on your job description. Now, then when you look at it, the mission statements, great, wonderfully written mission statement. These things needs to be embedded into everything that you do. Because this is why the 35,000 or more employees in the civil service goes to work every day. When you talk about the citizen-centric service culture, the core is this. This is the foundation. And then you also have values. Because values drives the behaviors of people, right? Integrity, doing things right when no one is watching. Discipline and consistency in making sure that you are self-disciplining in what you do. The competencies, which I think there are several papers. The dedication and ensuring that the service is provided in a timeliness manner. So where do you get the motivation to go and do what you do best every day? Ask the person next to you, where do you get the motivation? From whom you get motivation? Raise your hand if you think you need motivation from the person sitting next to you. If you need motivation from the person sitting next to you, raise your hand. I see some of you raise your hand. Turn to the person next to you and say, I need motivation from you too. Tell them, please. Come on, tell them. Because the motivation is something that comes within you only when you understand and at a deeper level why you do what you do. I believe being in civil service is one of the most noble job that you can actually get. Now, here is the thing. If you think the most noble job has to do with money and the material stuff, forget it. You won't find your motivation. But imagine if you are, for example, a city mayor, an island council president, or a president of an atoll council. You are responsible for 30, 15, 20,000 people. What a higher purpose than that? During your term, if you're not able to make any changes, it has nothing to do with the government. It has nothing to do with the people. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. Your personal leadership, how you bring people along. And it starts with realizing that as a leader, the first thing that you need to set is also your mindset. For years, I have been teaching this. I learned this from my mentor, Joe Maxwell, many years ago. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Which means if your leadership level is 5, the results generated by your council, the people of the island, the people in the administrative sections, the digital scenarios, even if the government gives you an app, it won't happen. Because it hits at 5, it stops. The moment you raise your level. Because when, for example, Uridu goes and say, we're happy to make your island digital. Nice. But the way you respond has a lot to do with your thinking, your perspective. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Because the leadership that we need for future is something what I call as a high road leader or high road leadership style. This is very recently, my mentor Joe Maxwell wrote this book called The High Road Leadership. Amazing book. I don't have much time to talk about this because this topic itself is a full day. We don't have a full day. But I can tell you 3 things of a high road leader. A high road leader does things without looking at who gets credit. Number 2, a high road leader is a servant leader. He or she wakes up in the morning and asks, what can I do today to make my people's lives better than yesterday? Number 3, a high road leader is somebody who continuously practices learning and looking at ways to make the lives of other people better. Take a moment. Think. Because when you are a high road leader, results change. It does. It does to a great extent. Because if you look at the history of any leader, they achieve greatness because they were a high road leader. They never woke up and say, what benefit I can get from this? They always look at it, how can I serve? Who can I add value? Who can I recognize today? What are the things I can do to make people happy? And that is the role I believe we have. Because to create a service culture within the civil service across the nation, you got to get the mindset right. In the last, I think, group walking exercise, I also heard that one of the commission members spoke about the mindset. It's not that, yes, certain areas we can improve on the resources. And being a participant of the 2018 conference and listening to all these papers, I was sitting there and realizing this country has improved. This country has taken steps forward in many different aspects. But there's one thing that we need to seriously work on. It is creating this positive mindset. Imagine if you have 35,000 employees at the civil service and going to work every day, and the first question they ask is that, what can I do to make the lives of citizens better? You're going to have an incredible change. I mean, it's interesting. Maldives has the most amazing hospitality industry in the world. There's not a single country in the world where the service is as like as Maldives. You know why? Because the people are genuine. They are sincere. And of course, in the private sector, we train and train. And one of the questions I always get is that, Afeef, you guys do these things so well in private sector, why not in the government? It can also be possible. But the central government itself can't do it. Everybody needs to come together and do that. And to do this, I'm going to share something now with you. If you take this last lesson that I'm going to share with you, you will make incredible changes. After 2 days of a conference, when you move out, if you leave the conference with this sort of a mindset, it will be very hard for you to create any change that you want. For example, we go to one place and say, hey, well, why this went wrong? Oh, not me. And then you go from the other guy, what happened? It's them. Blaming each other, right? Yeah. I would say 90% of the problems we have in the work culture can be reduced or resolved if we talk to each other instead of talking about each other. Because when organizations invite me to go and speak and say, we need time management training, I said, no, there is no such thing as time management training. There's self-management. And then sometimes I go and I teach this and ask from people, what's the biggest challenge you have? We don't have time. I said, well, why you don't have time? And then ask them to write down the list of things that they do every single day. And every single day for 7 days in a week, they go to a coffee shop and for 30 minutes every single day, they talk to 4 people. And the only thing they talk about 4 people is about other people. And yet they claim they don't have time. We're living in an unbelievable world. The humans are the most amazing thing in the planet. And may God bless all of us. But you get my point, right? Yeah? And then maybe one fine day you get motivated and you go like, well, let's not blame each other. Let's upgrade it to a next level. If you made a mistake, don't come to work. Take a sick leave. Feel ashamed about it. When you don't feel ashamed, then come to work. Right? The culture of shaming. We all make mistakes. Who haven't made a mistake? Everybody makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. We make mistakes in our personal and professional life, but we got to support each other. There needs to be a system where we teach people and correct and take people with them. Great leaders are people, they actually take people with them. And then you go like, oh, well, great, yeah, we shouldn't shame people. Let's upgrade it to a higher level. And what is that higher level? Excuses. It's the carpet problem. It's the computer problem. Right? So we kind of give all these excuses because we think that that's the only way we can survive. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to create culture of excellence and accountability, here is the solution. And I learned this 13 years ago from my mentor, Ron Kaufman. And trust me, there is no better solution than this one here. Take personal responsibility. Take personal responsibility. What is taking personal responsibility? It's a feeling. It's an idea. It's a mission. It's a purpose that drives your behaviors every single day to do something different because you got this right. May I ask everyone to join me in doing this commitment? Take your right hand, yeah, and put a little bit of energy, yeah, a little bit of energy. And check if your learning partner is doing properly. Check them, if they're doing properly, yeah, very good. Say with me, ready? Are you ready? Yeah, very good. Take 2 days of learning. Come on, let's do a little bit better. Everybody, join with me. Take personal responsibility. And turn to the person next to you, you go like, take personal responsibility. From tomorrow onwards until next conference. If ever anybody comes and starts complaining, what do? Take personal responsibility. You know, we as a country, we're the most blessed nation on earth. Because We're a 100% Muslim country. The best leadership book ever that we will see in our lifetime is the Holy Book of Quran. I want everybody to look at what I'm going to show you on the next slide. We complain about change and we can't create things and all these things. As you can see from here, Allah does not change our conditions unless we change by ourselves. A conference will not change your mind unless you want to change. A conference will not improve a service unless you want to improve. A keynote speaker cannot change your mind unless you want to create the change. A policy, a digital system, a revolutionary in anything in the world will not bring happiness to you unless you allow it to happen. Some of the best universities and business schools in the world, they teach change management. All the change formulas comes down to this. The beautiful verses from the Holy Book of Quran. I have never seen a better formula in change management in all the research I did than this beautiful verses from the Holy Book of Quran. And there will never be one. Aren't we the blessed people on the planet? Right? Turn to the person next to you and say, you are blessed. And as I end my keynote, I thought I want to share a story with all of you that probably will kind of really wrap up the things that I spoke in the conference. Because excellence is one of the key words that we spoke. I want to share a story. A couple of years ago, I was invited to speak in a conference in the US. And the organizer asked me to send a presentation on my slide deck, which I did. And he wrote me an email and said, Dear Afeef, is this your best presentation? Is this your best work? I said, what? I mean, I prepared the presentation really with lots of energy and excitement. Anyway, I then changed the presentation a little bit, sent him an email, and I said, his name is Paul. Dear Paul, please note an updated version of the presentation. So I removed from 45 slides to 41 slides. And he replied back, Dear Afeef, good. Is this your best presentation? Is this your best work? I said, huh? Then I asked from my mentor at the time, I said, what do you think is this happening here? Well, maybe he wants you to look at the presentation. So for the third time, I changed the slide deck from 41 to 37 slides. I changed it and I sent an email like this. Dear Paul, please note this is my best work. And then he said, great, Afeef, you're going to be speaking in the conference. And when I spoke in the conference, during the dinner, I asked Paul, I said, what was that about? You didn't trust me? He said, no. Afeef, you've got to understand one thing. I want the best for you when I put you on the stage to speak. Because I knew your first slide deck was not the very best work of you. I pushed you 3 times, you got it right. One of the questions, ladies and gentlemen, we all need to ask is, regardless of our position, are we doing the best work that we can every single day with the resources that we have? Because excellence is created by doing what you can with what you have. And that's possible. Turn to the person next to you and say, that's possible. Tell them. Because in the race of excellence, there's no finish line. Once said by the ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed. And I think he's absolutely right. What's best today will not be best for tomorrow. For example, the digital world we are talking about, a lot of the things that we have spoken the last couple of days, by the way, has already happened in most part of the world. So we have a lot of catch up to do. So why are we waiting? Just keep going and make the changes that you need. Because in the race of excellence, there's no finish line. In fact, turn to the person next to you and say, in the race of excellence, there's no finish line. Please, read it for your learning partner, the person next to you. I wish I had more time to speak to all of you, Fortunately, it's a closing ceremony. Time is of essence. I'd like to recommend you two books that you can read. Two best books I've read this year. One is from my mentor, Joe Maxwell, Highroad Leadership. Amazing book on leadership. You will love it. Every single leader in this room needs a copy of the book. So please buy it. It's not a promotion, but it's available. The second book is about Build the Life You Want. This is by Harvard Business School professor Arthur C. Brooks and Oprah Winfrey. They wrote a book together. The reason why I recommend this book to all of you is that if you seek happiness in the work and the things that you do, it's a beautiful book to read. Because sometimes we think happiness is a feeling, but it's not the case. There's a lot more details in it. You will enjoy reading this book. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for listening to me. And my last message is that let's get going. The world is moving. The world is changing. We got to move fast. We got to keep going because this nation deserves the very best of you as a civil servant or a private sector or a public enterprise. If you are not giving your best at your work every single day, you are doing a disservice to the nation. I see some of you looking at me like, oh, yeah, you got to go and make the change, right? Because a best civil servant is described by a person who goes to work and keep moving things, keep helping people. The nation's vice president yesterday mentioned two good points. I hope you remember. Service with a smile, with empathy, listening, and all those different things. But it comes down to one thing. How do you show up to work every single day? I want to thank the Civil Service Commission members, the CSTA team for giving me the opportunity to do this. And I hope everybody have enjoyed this presentation and the conference. And may Allah bless all of us for the good work that we do. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely evening.